You know, we use the term mask off quite a bit, but I don't think in recent times it's been more personified than what we're seeing over the discourse when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6. I saw this earlier today, and I thought, I want to make a video about this because I just really want to talk about it. So we have a tweet here from Grummz speaking about Elder Scrolls 6, and it says, and it is truncated because the person didn't expand it, but you'll get the gist of it. Elder Scrolls 6 leads, odds on if they are woke scolds or not. So what is he basing this on? What is he basing this on? It may not be fair, but pattern recognition and years of DEI have made gamers very cynical. So the fault, whatever harassment the developers might get, is not the fault of the actual developers. It's about the cynical nature of the gamers themselves. I think that's pretty clear here in this post. AAA gaming has bashed gamers and injected stuff in their games for so long that gamers are going to default to assuming the worst. That's what it says in his tweet. It's a little bit more, but either way, you can see what's going on here. He's trying to draw a comparison to the way that these women look and then flip that around into an argument about, well, they deserve it because of how gaming has made us feel, because of our feelings. I'm Grummz. I'm a 50-some-year-old man who gets my feelings hurt about everything under the sun, and so they deserve any sort of vitriol coming their way because of that. And we can assume the worst about them because of reasons. Here's a tweet from Cult Classic Cage. There's a few of these. I bookmarked a bunch of them, but this one in particular I want to talk about because it gives a very clear example of exactly the issue that I have and a lot of people have with this discourse. I'm blocked, but someone tell Grummz to stop being purposely obtuse for clicks. All of these women worked for Bethesda as far back as Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. I know Christiane goes back as far as Morrowind. These are not DEI hires. They are Bethesda industry veterans, WTF, LMFAO. That's exactly it. So it doesn't matter what their actual background is. I need you guys to understand that. That's not the argument they're even making. That's not the argument Grummz is making. It's not the argument the other people are making that are talking about this. Kabutus, who else? Probably Hypnotic. I'm sure there's a bunch of other people are going to jump on this. One-Eyed Jack here with 215 followers has something quite important to say. I have articulated multiple times today that Grummz and quite a few of us are in agreement. It is possible that the three women in the picture will not inject DEI-related topics into Elder Scrolls 6. They may have nothing to do with DEI in general. However, he's going to make an excuse for arguing about it with these women. When we see people within the gaming industry look a certain way, that raises suspicions, and those suspicions are totally justified based upon the patterns we've observed over the years. So now we're doing pattern recognition. That's interesting. Whenever I talk about how someone has a behavior pattern of racist comments or anything like that, I'm told we're not supposed to judge people that way. But here we're judging these women, these three women, who have tons of history behind them that say otherwise. We're judging them based on a pattern of things that happen from other companies and other people involved in the industry. Not them specifically. Remember, he's saying that they may have nothing to do with DEI in general. And then Cult responds with, this is surface level bullshit with zero proof of anything. I have plenty of concerns with Elder Scrolls 6. None of them have to do with wokeness. Then they go off and list the things that they have issues with it. And then responds with this. This is surface level bullshit of anything. And then he's going to show pictures of how people looked. How they looked. Dyed hair, pride flags, trans, etc. They all follow a pattern of liberal progressive dogma. This isn't always the case, but is true in a staggering amount of instances. I'm sure he's done a ton of research. Some screenshots here. Gamers like me have taken a notice of these patterns. That is why when we see pictures of women with dyed hair, we immediately react to suspicious intent. You cannot blame us for doing so. Well, you're probably really mad at Melanie Mac, right? Melanie Mac definitely fits in that category. This picture is but a fraction of what is available. It's not surface level BS, but a culmination of patterns we have observed since Zoe Quinn. And once again, you present no real issues or concerns with wokeness and as Elder Scrolls 6. Whataboutism, wasting my time. Exactly it. So we've reached a point with these guys, and again, that's one example of many examples if you go and you read some of the discourse around this, that it is all about simply women in gaming that don't look the way some of these guys want them to look. So we have reached the discourse portion of this where now it doesn't matter if you subtract all the years of hard work and effort that these individuals have put into gaming, all of the great things they have done. And your only complaint here is that because they look a certain way, we are now going to create a worst case scenario on what could happen with this game, based specifically on them being women and whether or not their hair is dyed a certain color, whether or not they might be a queer person. That's where we're at now. And again, this is just one example. I bookmarked a bunch of them, but we're not going to go through all of them here. You just go through and read the responses to Grummz. Go through and read responses to Kabutus. He's even trying to do damage control on his own page. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and look at Kabutus' response. I'm seeing some people claiming that since these women are Bethesda for a long time, the post is just a grift, and Elder Scrolls V is actually in good hands because of it. Meet Patrick Weeks. He worked in BioWare for almost 20 years, and he was the writer of an entire Mass Effect trilogy, and also the entire Dragon Age franchise. He obviously was the lead behind Dragon Age, the Veilguard, and he got fired from BioWare after the disastrous flop of that title. See, being in a company for a long time and having done good things previously doesn't guarantee that someone won't end up getting infected by the progressive virus and start destroying beloved franchises. Do your researches before posting nonsense. So Kabutus' excuse here is that because this other person who has nothing to do with the three women that they're talking about happened to be someone that took part in a franchise that myself and other gamers didn't like, that means we get to drag these fucking women through the mud and talk shit about them and sully their name and all the work they've done in the industry because this person did something we didn't like. And what is the connection? They dyed their hair a certain color. So because their hair color matches, obviously that means that they're both capable of doing mass amounts of damage to a franchise. And this same person can do your research before posting nonsense. What other research is there? Do you have any proof that the three women that you have been complaining about, right here, the ones, the Elder Scrolls bros, I'm starting to get worried. Do you have any proof that these women are going to do anything here that you've accused them of doing? Or is it simply because they are women that look like this, and now you're comparing them to another man who had his hair dyed a certain color and one of them has their hair dyed similar, it's not even the same color. That's fucking weak, bro. That's so weak. Are you kidding me? So yeah, now it's like women equals bad. Women equals failure. Women equals get woke, go broke. They're not even looking beyond that anymore. And all of these fucking excuses Kabutus and Grummz and any of these other guys might make about this, the ultimate thing here is that you are comparing two things together that have nothing to do with each other. You're saying because one person who had a history of working in games for 20 years made a game that I didn't like, some decisions that I didn't like, that means I can unilaterally apply that same logic to any and everyone involved in gaming and just treat them like shit, make accusations about them, and claim they're things they're not simply because this one person did it as well. You guys have to open your eyes. If you're still following these guys out there and you're still believing in what they're feeding you, they're fucking lying to you. And if you're complicit to it, that means you agree with it. And that comes out as bigotry. At that point, it's just bigotry. It's just sexism. It's misogyny. It's just bigotry. I know you guys don't like those words. Whenever you hear those words, you start to get triggered. You call us all these things. If you weren't doing these things and making it so blatantly obvious that you were, we wouldn't have to say this about you.